Hi guys, it's Nancy here and I'm back with another process video for you, and this is using up some more bits and pieces from that kit that I've been using, and I'm going to be scrapping these two photos. I have cut them down slightly from 4x6. As I've said, I have all of my pictures printed at 4x6 and then I cut them down as and when I need to. And I just think these photos are funny. Basically we were in the San Francisco the Golden Gate Park bit, where the Chinese garden is, Japanese garden. Anyway, I will talk about it more. I think that's where it is. It's near the museum and stuff. And there was this this sort of statue of this kind of half woman, half lion kind of thing. And I just found her face really funny, so I decided to take a selfie with her because she seemed like she had her selfie game kind of on point. And so yeah, I thought that would be funny. So I'm taking up some scraps that I've got left over from this kit, and I was originally going to use that kind of blue piece for my background, but I am end up going to be using this wood grain. I love that dark wood grain. I did think several times like, no, I've already done a layout with it, but I think no, I'm going to go with this one, and they are going to go in different albums as well. So I have just used a piece of orange cardstock from my stash to mount my photos on, and now I'm just looking at the different bits and pieces that I've got that I can use to create some layers. And I had sort of several large scraps left at this point, and as I'm scrapping these two larger photos, I thought, you know, it would work quite well. So you are going to see a lot of shuffling around at the start of this video because I knew that I wanted to use these papers, but I just couldn't get them to look quite right. But I thought I would leave it in so you could actually see how I do kind of move bits around and sort of play about with my layers and just trying to get it to work for me. Trying to change it about where I'm going to put it on the page. And as I said, this is a process that, you know, some layouts happen quite easily, and other layouts it takes, you know, a bit longer for it to happen. So I'm now going to start hacking up my papers because I want to bring other papers down. And so I'm literally just playing around here. And I said, this is not something I don't necessarily edit my videos that strongly, but some layouts just cause you trouble. So I did turn off the video because it was getting ridiculous, and within that I then completely sort of swapped outwarded and decided to go more of an L-shaped corner design. And I also had some of those florals that I'd cut out from my previous layout, and so I decided that I'm going to use those to help kind of build up this layout. And as I said, this layout did take a fair bit of kind of moving about, but as you can see, I eventually settled excuse me, on design. Sorry guys, had to stop the video there because I was having a coughing fit. So yeah, as I said, kind of decided roughly where I was going to go, as I always do, and then I kind of start inking up edges and building up my clusters. And at this point I was like, do I add stuff to the background or not? Do I keep this quite simple? Because to be honest, halfway through this I was just like, I can't be arsed with this anymore. You know when some layouts just suddenly don't become fun? And I was just like, oh, I don't know, I like it. I don't know if it was the photos, I didn't know what it was. I had previously made the autumn edit layout for this, which I absolutely loved. So maybe that would have been a good point to stop crafting. But I kind of persevered, and I'm actually really happy how this layout came out. It was just a bit of a struggle. So you're going to see me playing about here yet again, trying to work out what bits I want to show, what bits I don't want to show. And I said I could have cut this out, but I wanted to just share with you that, you know, at times these layouts don't come together as easy as you may think watching videos. So I'm now going to bring these florals in, which is going to make me much happier because I'm going to feel that, you know, the layout is starting to feel grounded and starting to have some kind of movement to it. And so I decided, right, let's just go with it. I done it last time, let's do it again. Let's just add these squiggles. And I said this in my last video, this is just something I'm loving right now. You know, I'm sure I will grow out of this phase, but to me, I'm just loving it. So I decided to go with it. As you can see, I'm just dipping the mist sprayer into the bottle and then using it to scribble, and in doing that you do get flicks of ink, you do get kind of mistakes, but that's what I like because it's a very organic kind of process. I did want to add some other colours in, so I take the coral Heidi Sort Colour Shine, and that does kind of take a very kind of bluish tone on this paper, almost silvery maybe, just because how it's been absorbed into that dark wood grain. I also then take the Chartreuse as well, which I think are my only three. I think I have the gold, the Chartreuse and the coral. No, I think I have a teal as well, or a seafoam. But as you can see, that actually just looks very much like a gold on this paper. And I do then take some of my white, and this is just a Crafty Notions white that I've had for quite a while. And again, just use that to do some misting. And as you can see, that is just going to help to ground this layout on this darker paper. And as I said, I actually love how this looks. And I do then just add some more squiggles on top just to help kind of bed that paper into the background. And just putting, you can see where I put that coral on top of those other papers, it shows up much more as a coral. So I'm just going to take my heat gun just to dry that up a little bit, because I do find the metallic ones, you know, you do get a little bit of gold and stuff that comes off. And I'm then going to pull out my American Crafts heart roller, the little roller, and use that to add some texture in the background as well. And I think this then kind of feels happier for me, it feels more like it's my layout. And so I'm going to kind of just go with that and now start to build up my clusters. So one of these florals here at the top it kind of went off the edge, so it didn't show up. You know, it didn't kind of have that clean edge, so I have to just stick the other floral over the top, which is fine because again that's going to help to just encase that photo at the top. I do have these smaller florals that I'm going to look at adding in as well. And again, these I cut out for the previous layout and just had sitting there. I do like fussy cutting, and so you're just going to see me playing around before I'm going to add these. And again, it's going to help just to add some height to this layout, and I just want it to kind of surround it. And as you know, the other pictures that are going to be from this part of my album is going to be of like the Japanese gardens and like of the trees and stuff in the park, and it's going to be kind of like quite a lot of sort of naturey, is that a word? Natural shots. So yeah, I think it's going to kind of work well. But it also, I really like that pop of like the orange flower, that sort of darker orange red flower, picks out my brightness on my hair, because I think maybe that was what was throwing me off slightly in the photos. I also have some blue in my jacket, so again the blue flower is going to help just tie that in as well. So I'm just taking my wet glue to help me stick those down, and as I said, it's just a case of just building up those clusters. And so that background texture is just going to help just to kind of settle everything down a little bit. So now I'm going to take out some of the other embellishments which come in this kit, and I'm just going to see if I can possibly add any of those to it. And I've kind of got to a point now where I've used sort of all my favourite embellishments, I think, from this kit, and I'm now just kind of keep going through the same ones and the same ones. I did find this tag which has the turquoise and the gold on, so I'm going to add that. And then there's also this banner piece that I'm going to end up adding in as well. Again, this is kind of just going to bring that wood grain forward as well, which I think is also going to help to balance things out. And then I do really like that gold tag as well. I was going to think, okay, is this going to work, is it not? But I do end up cutting a little piece off that, so then of course I can add it at another place on the layout, which, you know, again is so often how I work my clusters. And just seeing how I can get that to all work together. So then I'm going to end up just tearing a little bit off that again and putting it in 3 places. And that top bit there is pretty tiny, but I know it's there. Even if you can't see it from the main layout, I know it's there. And I'm also just going to put that tab there at the top. And There was these tiny word stickers that came in with this collection. I like them, apart from they're transparent. If these were not transparent, I think I would have been able to use them much more. My older Amy Tangerine ones I had that were transparent from an older collection, I ended up just sticking on a white piece of cardstock and cutting out, because I found that I could use them so much more. I don't work well with on it, I don't know. I do end up tucking a couple in more just because I felt like I had to use them. So as you can see, I've not used many on there at all. I am now going to be doing my title, and I'm going to be using these, which I've pulled out for a previous one of these. These are an old Heidi Swap letter. And so I'm pulling those out, and I'm also going to use the bright turquoise glitter ones as well. I'm just putting the date down there at the bottom in that cluster as well. So I'm going to first start by, I think, putting my larger title down and then working the other bits around it. And actually the title is Working My Selfie Game, because I just thought it was funny and it kind of went with the photos and the little bit that I want to journal about this. As I said, there's not going to be much journaling about this. I just thought it was funny when I took the photos. So I am going to overlap some of my title onto that photo, and I do like doing that again because it just helps bring the layout all together. And you can't read those smaller ones necessarily too well on camera, but in person you can, and they're lovely. And I do love all the different glitters in here, the turquoise glitter, well, there's like the teal and the turquoise, and then the gold glitter on this layout. It works really well together. Excuse me. So I'm now going to look at those leaves that I pulled out and see if I wanted to add those on, but decided no, maybe that was a little bit too much. Basically because I cut loads out and I ended up not using them, so that's why I was trying to stick them on. I'm then just going to mount this layout on that background paper, that bright orange, which as you can see, as I always say, just encases everything and it picks up. No, I'd swapped out the orange even to this this mint that came in with the collection, and that just helps bring everything together. So thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this layout. I'm just going to fiddle around and see if I want to add anything else, and I do just use my silicone glue to put that arrow piece down. So thank you very much guys for watching, and I will speak to you all again very, very soon. Bye!